Welcome to Recurring Nightmares, episode 59. I am Chris, as always, joined by Jeff.
Hello.
And this time out, we have a pair of Robert Corman produced movies. One is
Roger
Corman. I'm sorry. I know that too.
No disrespect, Roger.
Yeah, no, my brain is fried. It's been a week. Been a year.
Yeah, it's been a year. In 2 months, it's been a year.
Yes, that feels so rough too.
Yeah.
We have a pair of original film and its sequel, both produced by Roger Corman. We will get to that soon, but before that, Jeff, what have you been watching over February?
So I have seen almost no movies because I've been watching a ton of TV, which we'll get to in a second. But the one movie I did get to see right under the wire, like I've literally finished it 10 minutes ago, is a movie that came out I think late last year called September 5. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I have not.
Okay, it was in theaters, I think, and it was actually nominated at the Oscars for Best Original Screenplay. It did not win. Nora won Best Screenplay. But it's about the 1972 Munich Olympics, the terrorist attack that happened there.
Okay.
But it is from the perspective of ABC Sports. So you're following, like their sports division. They're there to cover the Olympics. And this shit breaks out, and they are like in position to cover it. They have they're one of the few people that could do a live feed, and they had a camera kind of pointed at the apartments where the Israelis were being held hostage. I love movies about the news, seeing how the sausage is made, and this is 1,000,000% that. It's just even just kind of showing the little technical things they have to do, like in order to get the captions on the bottom of the screen saying this is this is Howard Cosell, they have to put letters onto a board, point a camera at that board, and then superimpose that image. It's just really interesting to see shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or them realizing that, hey, if we are broadcasting this live, couldn't the terrorists be watching this and using our broadcasts to strategize? Lots of things like that come up, and it's all comes at you. It's all really fast, and a lot of it is actually in the trailer, unfortunately. But it's a pretty fast paced, tense movie that is over really quick. It just goes through that day and kind of shows what happens. It's under an hour and a half. If you like movies about the news, it's definitely worth checking out. I think this got overlooked for a couple reasons. I think one is that's somewhat a crowded genre. There's been a billion of these.
Yeah.
I think the big one in the last decade was probably Spotlight. I think that won Best Picture. I think the other thing is the timing is it's not in vogue to sympathize with Israel at the moment, which
Fair.
I think is unfair. I think it's a little unfair though that if you look at the reviews on Letterboxd, they're this is Israeli propaganda and all this. I'm it has nothing to do with the politics of it. It's literally about what are the logistics.
Yeah.
And what are the ethics of covering this? What if they bring a hostage out and they're pointing a gun at his head? Do we cut away to something else? Do we allow our audiences, millions of people that are watching this now, to see someone be executed on the air? That's what the movie's about. It has nothing to do with with the politics of it. And I would say on top of that, what is happening today is a different thing. Again, it's this is a thing that happened. It's from 1972. it's not really speaking to at all what is going on today, except for the fact to show that like, history repeats itself, and this is a long running conflict. I enjoyed it, man. It's again very short. If you're in the news stuff, I'd say check it out.
All right. What is it? Like just is it streaming anywhere or?
Yeah, it's on Paramount Plus.
Okay.
So that's September 5. Mostly what I've been watching is Twin Peaks, and we need to talk about it because Chris, you've seen Twin Peaks, right? Except for the third season.
Yes.
Okay.
So we talked about this off air previously. I think I only really remember I've seen both seasons and the movie.
Yes.
But I think my most coherent memory of it is the first season.
Okay. We're going to discuss Twin Peaks, and there will be spoilers for the original series as well as the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want to hear that, just skip ahead to when I'm not talking about Twin Peaks anymore. There will be very, very minor spoilers for Twin Peaks: The Return, which was the third season that came out like 25 years after the original show.
Yep. Okay.
Anyways, so Twin Peaks, man. I'm watching this, and this is a show that aired in 1990 and 1991, and I think it was canceled by ABC in its second season, and there was obvious turmoil in the second season. It does not surprise me to hear you say that you don't remember parts of the second season, because like halfway through, so Twin Peaks is about this FBI agent that goes to this small town in the Pacific Northwest where he's investigating this murder of this high school girl, Laura Palmer. So far, this is all like you remember okay. Halfway through the second season, like the second season is like 22 episodes long, and by like episode 7 or 8, the mystery is solved. Like we know who killed Laura Palmer, and it's kind of like wrapped up, and then from there, it just like goes into all these crazy storylines, and it like kind of silly storylines. Like some of them, like there's one lady who like suddenly thinks she's in high school again, and she's trying to like date a high school kid, and meanwhile her husband's just like, "Oh my god, my wife has gone nuts." Did you recall any of that?
No.
Okay. There's all sorts of silly shit. So the mystery of Laura Palmer, she was raped for years by her father and then murdered by her father. Do you remember that as being like who the identity of the killer is?
I believe so, yes.
Except her father was being possessed by like an evil spirit named Bob. And that is also solved by the midpoint of season 2. And then just goes on and all shit. And so I guess the story behind it is ABC like forced David Lynch to like reveal the killer way earlier than he. And so that's why that is. And then he was pissed off about that. So he kind of like checked out of the show, like stopped working on it halfway through season 2. Like he was just showing up to do his acting parts because he would play Agent Cooper's boss, like the FBI director.
Mm-hmm.
So he would show up for those parts. Wasn't really involved in the second half of season 2, except he came back to direct the finale, and the finale ends on this like crazy big cliffhanger where Agent Cooper is like trying to take down his old partner who's gone crazy. That's kind of like the villain of the second half of season 2 is like his old partner's gone crazy.
Okay. Cooper's partner, right?
Yes. And he tracks him down to this place called the Black Lodge, which is like in another dimension. And
it's insane. Like, just, hearing you say this, and then like I haven't watched it in years, but it all ties in like so much from Alan Wake is like inspired by this.
I'm sure I'm sure you remember like the famous scenes of him sitting in a room where it's like red curtains and like this black and white zigzag floor. And there's this little guy who's like telling him shit in this really weird voice. That's the Black Lodge. And it's a place where like evil spirits gather, and you can run into your shadow self there. And if your shadow self, like if you lose, like, you know, if you're too weak to face your shadow self can take over.
Okay.
And so at the end of season 2, it's not his shadows. It's at the very last shot of season 2 is Agent Cooper. He gets out of the Black Lodge and he goes to the mirror, and you can see in the mirror Agent Cooper is now possessed by Bob.
Okay.
Pretty cool cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Then they came out with the movie, and the movie was just a prequel, and it just kind of shows you Laura Palmer's life leading up to her death.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't care for the movie because like so many like Agent Cooper's in it for like maybe 2 minutes. And it's just showing you her going through like all this suffering and this rape and all this stuff that if you were a dedicated viewer of the show, you already know all the information it's telling you. It adds very little. And I was just like, what was the point of this? Like, I didn't need to see... My imagination has already seen all of this. You know what I mean?
Right. You didn't need to have it filled in.
And the only, like, some of the things that they fill in are, like, I don't like. Like, there's this kid, Bobby Briggs. His dad's, like, a major, he's doing secret shit in the military, but the kid's just kind of like this fuck-up who was sort of dating Laura Palmer, but also, you know, he was also dating, like, this Shelly who works at the diner, and so I do a thing with him in the movie where they show him like he like accidentally kills a drug dealer, and I was like, I don't like that for this character, that he killed someone when he was in high school. Like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
But then comes the return. So like 25 years after the movie and the show being canceled, David Lynch got a chance to do a final season for Showtime. And it brings like everything back. So it is worth watching the movie because there's things that are introduced in the movie that play heavily into the third season, such as there's the idea of this thing called the Blue Rose that's introduced in the movie. And that's like this FBI code for basically like supernatural cases like X-Files. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Long build up to say. Going from... All right, so like the old TV show. Sorry for all this setup, but I kind of have to set the stage for us, especially since you're a little rusty and it's been a while for you.
Yeah.
The old TV show, it was groundbreaking for its time, obviously. I could tell that watching it. But at the end of the day, what it was like a primetime soap opera. And what get into like what you like going back is just kind of like hang out with these characters every week or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, here's Agent Cooper. Here's the log lady.
Right.
You know, and it's very soap opera-y plots. It has the old aspect ratio of an old TV, like the little square. It was shot, you know, for network TV. Obviously, it couldn't do like R-rated shit. I mean, it kind of got away with a lot for what it was, but all of this to say, like that, like going from that, like I sitting through like, you know, 35 hours of that, and then going to season 3, which is, you know, came out in 2017. It's like the best comparison I could say. It's like it's like if you played the original Legend of Zelda, and then the next game you played was like Breath of the Wild. We're just like, holy fucking shit. Like the leap in like filmmaking quality, budget, like production values, the storytelling. It's like you're in this modern drama all of a sudden that could have aired. It's right up there with any of like the best HBO shows or any of that. It's like the new prestige TV.
Yeah.
It's crazy to go from the old Twin Peaks to the new. And on top of that, I was really surprised by the direction of the story where it went. And I'm not going to spoil anything because I think we're going to talk about Twin Peaks more later this year. Except to say that here is what my assumption was, what season 3 would be. I assumed it would be like Pennywise the Clown, where Bob is this evil spirit who returns every 25 years, and he would show up again here, and somehow like another girl would be killed, and Agent Cooper would have to come. We're kind of like repeating the story again. That's 1,000,000% what I expected it to be. And that is not it at all. What it is a continuation of the story that was set up in the season 2 finale, just picking up 25 years later. And so the story that the cliffhanger we're left with is that Bob, the evil spirit, has taken over Agent Cooper's body, and Agent Cooper is stuck in the Black Lodge. And they decided to continue the story right from that, except that Agent Cooper's been stuck in the Black Lodge for 25 years, and Bob has been out running around, killing, doing evil for 25 years. And that's where we come in at season 3.
This Agent Cooper.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
It's really cool. I finished it. I do think that I found the ending, like the last episode, to be super, super confusing. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And you're talking to someone who's like just watched the entire series in a row.
And you're still confused.
I'm still like confused. I had to explain to me, and I had to chew on the ending for a day or two to think like, do I like that ending? And it's like, I think I do. And I think whatever frustrations I had with the return, they are far, far outweighed by the joys of this third season. There are moments that you hit in this third season that like would just be impossible to replicate anywhere else, where it's just like, how often do you get to revisit characters and actors 25 years later as the same character? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So you have this, again, very minor spoiler for early on in the season. Bobby Briggs, the kind of fuck up kid whose dad was a major in the army or whatever. He's got his life together, and he's a cop now. And it's crazy to see this guy who I watched forever as like this kid with this long hair, and now he's got like a normal haircut, and he's got gray hair. I'm like, oh my god, this guy's, and there's so many people that show up in this. You're like, oh my god, that's what they are now. Like, but there's a part early on in the season where they have reason to bring all the evidence back from the 1990 case back out of storage. And he kind of walks in the room, like just bringing in donuts or whatever. And he sees a picture of Laura Palmer, who he sort of kind of dated at the time. Yeah. And it sets him off. Like he just starts starts crying and losing it. And they start playing the Laura Palmer theme, like that music. And it's just like, it hit like a ton of bricks. It's like, geez, like just the weight of time. Past coming back and like hitting you in the face, like just like, I don't know, just everything about it. I was like, this is such a treat. Like if you were, I imagine a lot of people who were huge fans of the show back in the day already saw the return, but oh my god, was it just like a really unique and awesome viewing experience. So sorry to go on long about it, but like I think I got everything I wanted to say about it out, at least for now. Again, I think we're going to do a David Lynch episode down the road, and so I think we'll be talking a little bit more of Twin Peaks at some point.
Good. But, looking forward to it.
I generally really enjoyed my time with the whole series. That was well worth that marathon I just went through.
Any other TV?
Yeah, briefly. I also have been. I'm almost caught up on big TV shows right now, which is Severance season 2 and The White Lotus season 3. Severance season 2, I'm enjoying. I have to confess though, like that show is a huge hit. I think it's Apple TV's biggest hit. People love it. People are going crazy about it. I think it's really good. but I also am like, I think people are like, I feel like I'm not as into it as other people because I'm like, there's other sci-fi shows on Apple, and those are even better. Like for me, it's like it's below Dark Matter, it's kind of below For All Mankind, but still really interesting and unique TV show. I don't know that you ever checked out Severance yet, have you?
I have not checked out Severance yet. No.
It's cool. It's fun. I can see why it's a big hit, but it just makes me like, well, if that's a big hit, how come nobody cares about For All Mankind?
I mean, they did, right? Because like for All Mankind got what 3 seasons, 5 seasons?
It's I think season 5 is in production right
Yeah.
now. So
I mean,
I must
people
be
are
at
watching.
numbers.
It's not hit the for whatever reason. Severance and what was the soccer one?
Ted Lasso.
Yeah, like those really kind of like hit the mainstream.
Yeah, like Severance
in a
is
way.
in the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
I think it's because people hate their jobs. That's kind of about it's a show kind of about like your office life being a prison type thing. That's kind of like the underlying thing of it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
It's good. It's a very entertaining show. It's extremely well made. Like again, I think I'm just kind of picking at it because I'm like, come on, man, guys, you got Apple TV. Check out these other shows; they're great too. If you like sci-fi, you're gonna love it. Anyways, it's very good so far. I actually am all caught up on that. I think next week will be episode 7 out of 10. So we'll see if they build to a satisfying conclusion.
All right.
White Lotus is just getting started. 3 episodes have aired. I caught up on episode 2 today.
Oh,
and
same premise for that, right? Like, I mean, like each one is at a different White Lotus resort somewhere in the world, but still like a murder mystery type thing. Okay.
Yeah. You've seen the first season, or
I saw like a few episodes of the first season. It was like cool what I watched of it, and then I fell off. I keep meaning to go back.
But. It's so fun. I don't know. I could like if all they're usually very short, like 6 episodes. I don't know what their plan is for this one. It basically because you follow a week, so like every episode's like a day. So you're talking like 6-7 episodes.
Okay.
Yes, they have their format like set like down. Like the season will start at the end of the week. You'll see some sort of murder or a body wash up on shore or something, something like that. Then it cuts back to 1 week later, and it's all the guests checking in to the resort, and you get to know the characters. And the show will play with themes of like class and sex, kind of just like adult themes. Like I'd say like class is like a running theme throughout the whole series. I think season 2 is kind of a little bit about sexual politics more, and maybe because it's fallen into this like this format, like it knows its format, that it seems like the people's like reaction to season 3 so far have been a little mixed. But again, through 2 episodes, I'm like, this is a blast. This is exactly what the show is, and I'm having a fucking great time. And here's this new cast of characters. You got some really great ones, like you have Walton Goggins, basically looking and acting like Shane from The Shield in this. And it's pretty clear, like, again, I could be totally wrong on this because we don't know for sure yet, but it's pretty clear to me he's there to kill the resort owner's husband. Like, he's a hitman.
Okay.
Like, they have not expressed this yet. And he's just, like, super grumpy and with some, like, girlfriend who he, like, literally tells her straight to her face, you are an idiot. Like he doesn't respect her at all or anybody else at all. And he's just, like, this guy who hates life and just like, hates everything. Like, he's taking no joy out of being in this, like, paradise. There's another family there that I'm really enjoying where the whole thing, like at the resort, they're like, we ask that you don't use phones in the common areas because we want this to be like a digital, like unplugging from the digital world here. So if you need to use your phone, you can. Like, they actually encourage you to hand over your phone for the week. But he's on his phone the entire time because he's We don't know the exact details of it yet, but he was involved in some business scheme years ago that was hugely illegal. And he's getting calls from the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal asking him to comment on a story that they're working on, and he's like, "Holy fuck, am I going to prison?" And he's like off in his paradise and like trying not to tell us like family what's going on. So he keeps being like, the phone will ring, and they're like, "Hey, we're supposed to not ignore our phones this week or whatever." And he's like, "I really have to take this call." He's going off and talking in the corner about like, what do I have to do to get out? So yeah, I guess I would differ from anyone who's like negative on this new season. I am having an absolute blast with it yet again. I really enjoyed the first two seasons, and so far, to me, this is another home run. I think the White Lotus it's a really fun series. Like, is it as significant as like, I don't know, something super important? No, but it's just super fun, super well made. And also kind of like a travelogue at the same time. You're just getting to see these beautiful locales and these resorts. And you just kind of want like, all right, can we get a room? Because they're all shot at like real resorts.
Yeah.
Like, damn, I need to fucking get a room at this place. How much would it be? And this one's in Thailand. So I have to imagine. I mean, they're portraying all the people there as kind of rich, but I imagine you could get into a pretty nice resort at a pretty good price in Thailand. Maybe I'm wrong, but
yeah. I mean, my understanding of Thailand is that it's fairly reasonable, like price wise. It's not expensive there.
I think that's part of the appeal. It's just getting there, right?
Yeah.
But all the people you're kind of following here are rich. There's the third group of people you follow in this season is like this TV actress who's like there with her two friends who are not famous, but they grew up together, and you're seeing the tension play out between these three women who are in their 40s and not really close. Like, you know, it's like you're going on vacation with someone you used to know, kind of, and the fake niceties and things like that. The tension's bubbling up and the animosities. I don't know, man. I think White Lotus is a blast. You'd love it.
Okay.
Everyone I know at work who's gotten into it loves it. They've all been coming to me for the last few weeks, like, dude, did you watch season 2? And I'm like, still on Twin Peaks. Still on, like, I've been backlogged because of Twin Peaks.
Now you can catch up.
Oh, just one final little note about Twin Peaks, because I have a coworker who, he was like, dude, wait till you see the Twin Peaks Return and blah, blah, blah. He's like, it's amazing. There's this one episode that's amazing. And the episode he was talking about was like super. It was like an hour of nonsense. And then he's like, "Oh, the ending was really good. The ending is really good." And came to question. He asked me, like, I told him I saw it, and I thought I had needed the ending explained to me. And he's like, "Oh, what was that house at the end?" And I was like, "Dude, it turns out he never watched the original series.
He just watched the third season.
He just watched the third season." And
That's wild.
And I was
insane.
Like, what he said to me is, he's like, well, I just assume it's David Lynch, so like nothing's gonna make sense. And I'm like, that's it's funny, but at the same time, it's like there is David Lynch. His things can be confusing, but like there is like an intent and a purpose behind everything. Like there is something there. And also, I'm so glad I watched the whole series. Because if you the third season, one, you're going to lose the magic of certain moments. Like I said, like the guy seeing his old girlfriend and, you know, crying. But you're also going to be 1,000,000% lost on what the fucking plot is. Like the whole setup I said at the beginning here, where I explained everything that happened, all those things are very, very fucking important to understand anything about what's going on in season 3. So I have literally no idea how you watched season 3 and made any sense out of fucking any of it. I was just like, wow, it blew my mind.
Just like, I got it. I'm good. Just jump on it.
But he was completely wrong too about whose house it was. And I was just like, Jesus, dude, if you had watched the original show, there's no missing what that house is. If you ever do watch that third season, we'll discuss that. But
all right.
That's what I've been watching. Again, not much, but I had a lot to say, so it took up a lot of time. What have you been up to?
I've seen a lot. I'm gonna try and keep it as short as possible here. First one is I guess I'll do the one streaming movie I watched. I watched Nosferatu, which I believe is on. It's either on Peacock or Paramount. It's
Not
on
for
one of
free
those.
yet. If it
No,
was
it
for free,
is.
I would
It
watch
is.
it.
It
It
is.
is
It's on. I don't know. I don't know if it's on Peacock or Paramount. It's on one of those
on
two.
one of those. So you
But
didn't pay to watch it.
I
Just
didn't
like
pay for it. It was
weird. Okay,
there.
I'll look for it.
Um, um, yeah. So it's the Robert Eggers vampire movie. Uh, it's it's a beautiful looking movie. I think the acting is really well done. At the end of the day, it's just like kind of just an adaptation of Dracula or previous Nosferatu. Like
Yeah,
it, it's like really good, one of those, but it's still just a period piece Dracula horror vampire movie. Um, I mean, it's the
yeah.
ending shot is pretty fucked up, but
The what shot?
the final shot of
Oh,
the
the final
film,
shot.
like the final scene, is pretty like
Okay.
it's a they kind of show the vampire at the end, and it's like that's fucked up. But
Eggers kind
uh,
of like he excels at doing like period, like old shit, like
mhm.
and especially the dialogue. But I was just kind of like, can he do anything more than that with this? And it doesn't sound like he did much with it. Like
No,
outside.
like it's just like do you like the traditional Dracula type story? Like there's a couple changes here and there, but it's still very much like the husband guy goes off to the castle, signs away uh stuff, and gets he then the head vampire gets transported back to where the guy lives and then starts stalking his wife.
What do you think of
Um,
the look of Dracula?
it's
Or whatever
good.
that's word.
It's really fucking weird. Like
Everyone was making fun of it. That's why I wanted to ask.
I think it's grisly. Like it's
Yeah.
really kind of gross, especially like at the end. It's like if you've watched spoilers, the vampire dies at the end, right? Like they kill him at the
Mhm.
end. But there's a shot of the vampire, what it looks like in like totality, and it's gruesome. Like it's just fucking disgusting. It really puts in like that this thing has been undead and just kind of like rotting away for centuries. Um,
Oh, okay.
it's kind of gross. But yeah, I think like it was decent enough. Willem Dafoe's in it as a kind of like plays a scientist, kind of like he did. What was one with Emma?
Poor things.
Yeah, you see, he
Yeah.
plays kind of like that type of role. He doesn't like his face isn't all fucked up in this, but same
Yeah.
like similar mad scientist type thing,
Yeah.
where people don't believe him because he's like vampire real motherfuckers. Like they're like you're goof, man. But he's fun in it. It's like it's a good one of those. That's what I'll leave it at that. I was not like, oh man, this is like super awesome and I love it. Like it was fun.
Wouldn't have made your top 10.
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Uh,
I will see it.
then the rest of the films I've seen, and well, there's 7 here, so I'm gonna go real quick. But I saw all of these in theaters. So went and saw Hard Eyes.
Which one?
Hard Eyes, the
Oh yes.
new Valentine's Day themed slasher. That one's fine. I think that it is at its best in the prelude to the film. That's where like the coolest kills kind of happen. From there, it kind of becomes a little bit too comedic, and I really think some of the comedy in it tries a bit too hard.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like it's there's not a lot of Valentine's Day slashers. It works well enough. I left a little bit disappointed in it because I was hoping for maybe a little bit more slasher fun, but it's more comedy, which I normally like, but didn't work. Other Valentine's Day movie I went and saw. This one was super disappointing. Love Hurts, which is the K Kwan.
I feel like we did talk about this one. Am I crazy?
I think I mean, if we did, I apologize for rehashing
It'll
it
be
here.
short.
But yeah, this wasn't good. It was he's fun. Quay Kwan, super fun. He's delightful in it. He has a few fight scenes that are actually like cool. But you know, the main romance here makes zero sense, and that's kind of what it's all tied around. Is like that it's him and this girl, and it's just absolutely unbelievable. They have zero chemistry.
I heard, yeah.
And if that's the reason for the whole movie, it kind of just doesn't work.
By the way, just real quick aside, Kei Kwan has a very sneaky cameo in the new White Lotus.
Okay.
Just throwing it out there.
I like him a lot. I'm glad that he's kind of coming back.
Getting work, yeah.
Yeah, because like he has a personality to him. Like it's fun.
I don't think maybe you could try to use him for a movie like this. Like I see what they're going for, but it just looks so bad to me in the trailers. And yeah, like just I don't know. Like this does seem like a thing that's kind of run into the ground too. Like the normal guy who's secretly a fucking kick ass and shit.
Yeah. So that's Love Hurts. Companion, which you've seen now.
Yes.
I love this movie.
Same.
Sci-fi thriller that it is revealed in the trailer. So this, if you haven't seen the trailer, sorry, spoilers here. But the main character is a robot. It's a companion robot. It's in the title of the movie, and they utilize her to kind of like do something, and then it is a chase between trying to get her back because she realizes what's going on and takes control of herself, and it becomes like this cat and mouse chase. It's goofy, it's nutty. You could see, the part that it's by the what they say the creator of Barbarian did this.
It's not like he didn't make it, like he's a producer or something.
Okay,
I think it's like a first time. I think it's like a first time director. It's so confidently directed for a first time director. It is insane.
Yeah, like I bought into that. Like it's like, oh, it's because it's like the poster says a new kind of love story from the creators of Barbarian.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's how you know when they say the creators of, or something like that. That's how you know it's not.
Yeah, so but it checks out. Like it kind of has like that.
I saw something in it. Yeah,
yeah. It's super fun. Like go see this. It's wild. There are. The big reveal is kind of that she is a robot, but there are some other reveals in it that I think work really, really well.
So if I had never saw a trailer for this, but I listened to too many podcasts. So I knew going in that she was a robot, like a sex robot, right?
Yeah.
Even still, it played really well to me, but it is really cool. Like the way the movie is presented. So like if you know nothing, you just turn on this movie Companion. You will not know immediately that she's a robot. It's like a reveal like 20 minutes in or so.
Yeah.
And it is one of the great movie reveals, I think. But what was cool for me is like, even though I knew that, I didn't know why they were at this like cabin in the woods or this, this house, this rental house and what the deal was there, like what the people were there for. And it still had plenty of twists and turns for me, even knowing that.
Like, and it's just like everything is absurd and it just keeps escalating. Like the absurdity of all the actions keep escalating.
It's so clever too. Like they're like, so like part of her, like, I'm not giving away spoilers here. I'm just giving an example of how I think it's really clever. Part of her programming is she can't lie. And at one point she gets questioned by a police officer, and in order to like get out of that, she finds a loophole in that she changes her language to like German or something.
Yes.
So that she's not like the police officers asking her questions, she's answering them truthfully, but because she's switched her language settings, the guy has no idea what she's saying. He's just like she's some crazy lost German or whatever.
Yep.
The movie has tons of clever ideas like that in it that I think are really cool.
They've really thought out like all of like the robot stuff very well.
But it's all like in the service of this like fast-paced like thrill ride that honestly at points, and then again, I don't want to give it too much away. Do you know what movie I thought of while watching this?
No.
Could you guess? Terminator 2.
Okay.
Terminator 2. I'll just leave it at that.
Sure. There are some moments where there's another character that very
That's
reminiscent
what I'm
of
referring
the
to.
T1000. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm referring to. Yeah.
Yeah. I could see that for sure.
I kept thinking about it. Yeah.
Watch Companion.
It's great. It's
Yeah.
great. It's like I blind bought it, and that's the first blind buy in a while that I was like, oh, that worked out. That was good.
Another big horror movie that ended up going to see was The Monkey, Osgood Perkins' new
Yeah.
film. I really liked it. It's super weird and bizarre in a different way than Longlegs was. It's very much a comedic movie. It's but it's also like super gory, super dark, and but it's also this super goofy. Like it's just hysterically stupid at points. And I had a good point, like a good time with it. If a little bit of it was like, I don't know if like, these kills are super gross and dramatic but they're also so stupid. So I was like kind of, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like reconcile these together, but I think it ties it all together in the end, and it makes for a fun film.
I'm excited to see it at some point. I was actually, I think, planning to go to see it in the theater, but I missed the first couple weeks now, and I'm like, if I wait a week, I'll be able to rent this early.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But did you catch any interviews with him about the movie? Because I found it kind of interesting why he chose the comedic tone and stuff that he did.
I did not.
Okay. Osgood Perkins is Anthony Perkins' son, the guy from Psycho, Norman Bates. His dad, Anthony Perkins, was a gay man who died from AIDS. He was a closeted gay man who died from AIDS.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a mom, too, he was married, he had a wife. And Osgood Perkins' wife, or Osgood Perkins' mother, she died in 9/11. She was in one of the planes. And he was talking about, like, when he was trying to think about how he would approach doing this movie. And he was like, if I had done it in my, like, 20s or something, it would probably be, like, a very somber, like, very depressing kind of movie. And he said that, like, but as you get older, you get a little more perspective, and you start to just think about how, like, the comedy of life, like how, like, everyone has to die, but you don't get to choose how you die, and it's going to be, it could be in one of these ridiculous, horrible, like, ways, like his mom died or his dad died, and he thought with a little perspective that you could kind of approach the absurdity of life and the absurdity of death with a little bit of a chuckle, or a little bit of a
some of them are
humor.
very, very funny. Like some of them are like, holy shit, but other ones are just, they're so over the top that, like, I laughed out loud in the theater, and so did other people. So
that's what he was going for, and I just think that's interesting why he chose to approach the material that way. And like the movie, I haven't seen it yet, but it's ultimately about, like, the absurdity of how you could go out, like, in life, like, and that's just it. Like, shit, like, this shit happens,
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see it. I've heard some people say that it didn't totally work for them, but, like, everything I've heard, I'm like, hell yeah, Osgood Perkins is doing another one. And did you stay after the credits? Because I guess there's a teaser for his next movie.
No.
Yeah,
mostly I like look. I generally will like look up on. There's a site called like aftercredits.com to see if there's anything, and like I looked, and like what it said was after the credits was just like something about like, oh, you hear the Monkees music playing, or you hear the cymbal or something. And I was like, like, it's not really. It's just like a black screen. I'm gonna leave. So I did not see if there was anything else.
No, there's I don't know if it's online. I haven't even tried to look it up, but there is a teaser for his next film, which comes out this year. So
okay,
dude is like getting prolific. He's cranking the shit out, And he hasn't really missed for me yet. I even liked Gretel and Hansel, which nobody seemed to like when it came out, but I like everything he's done.
I'm on board with this guy now.
Yeah,
so
I'm into him. Yeah.
Three more real quick. Captain America: Brave New World. It's a sequel to The Incredible Hulk from 2008.
I heard, yeah.
It's just kind of wild. It's fine. It's fine. Anthony Mackie is good in it. Harrison Ford is good in it, but it is one of those movies, and it does not go past that. So
I'm good.
Yeah. Last Breath, which came out this past weekend, I think. It's the undersea kind of dive movie.
Like a true story type thing, right?
Yeah, so I didn't know it was a true story. And I was just like, I saw the trailers for it. It's like, oh, it's some fucking like dive tragedy
rescue
thing,
mission,
like a rescue. Yeah. Looks nightmarish. I love like deep sea shit. So I just went to it just to see, and yeah, it's a good tight 90-minute movie. There's a resuscitation scene that I think is a bit goofy, but other than that, I had a good time with it. Well acted. Woody Harrelson, Simu Liu, they're good in it. Visually, there's some good shots. A lot of it's very dark because like a lot of it takes place underwater. But it works to be thrilling. And the fact that like this shit actually happened, like this is a dramatized version of it, but when kind of it plays out and you're just like, holy hell, like the fact that this guy is still alive and the shit that happened to him 300 feet under the water, it's crazy. So
I will see it. I won't see it in the theater, but I will see that at some point. I love Woody Harrelson, and like you, I'm kind of fascinated. Like I remember being obsessed with that. What was it? The sub that fucking imploded. Years back. Yeah, I was obsessed with that story. So,
and last one, Cleaner, the new Martin Campbell movie, starring Daisy Ridley, where she is this is how like I love people are calling it like Die Hard with Daisy Ridley, and I don't think it's that. Although I guess the more comparison to me is she's playing that normal every person hero that like Jason Statham and Liam Neeson have played. That's the role she's in. Like,
well, that's kind of I think part of the Die Hard comparison comes from it. Like, yeah, he's an LA cop, but like he goes a little bit above and beyond.
Absolutely. It's just like I kind of look at that as like an all-time classic, and then like these. I like Jason Statham movies. I like Liam Neeson movies.
It's more on that level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and like if you go in expecting that, like this one's fine. Like it's not groundbreaking, but I had a fun enough time with it. Daisy Ridley works perfectly in that role that like Neeson and Statham normally kind of operate in. I do think so. The whole premise here is like this terrorist attack on a energy company that is having a party.
So yeah, there's comparison. I get the Die Hard.
Yeah, well, like the main villain here though is way more crazy than in Die Hard, where like his plan is literally I'm going to kill everybody. Like it's like nobody is walking out of this fucking building alive, and because he is just trying to reveal the truth of what these energy executives have been doing to the world. I think it's just very kind of almost topical in a way. We had the UHC, the United Healthcare guy got killed earlier. Was that early January?
This is here, yeah.
And like this is about like, oh, these fucking executives are shitbags and they're fucking the world and lying about it.
So the terrorist, you say the terrorist here is like a Luigi Mangione type character?
Yeah, except
his goal is just to kill.
Yeah, well, he's going to reveal the truth and he's going to kill everybody, including himself. But like,
I'm in.
So yeah, there's I was like, yeah, this is pretty wild that like, and public sentiment about executives not high right now.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to be fans of this Luigi guy.
So yeah, I thought that was like an interesting approach. They do couch it a little bit where they're like, because his whole plan is like, I'm gonna kill everybody, and it's not just I'm gonna kill everybody. His plan is like, hey, humans suck and they should all probably die. So he just wants to wipe humanity off of Earth. Like his overall goal is kind of that. So like he's a little bit more extreme. So like you don't side with the executives here. They are the victims, but they're bad. But also the villain is worse in some ways. So Daisy Ridley, good. It's a fun time. I wouldn't rush out, but I have a list, so it doesn't cost me anything to go see these.
Yeah, I need to take advantage of mine more. We're so bad about it. Like we even like we're like calculating it at some point. We're like the frequency we use it, it's almost better to not have it. But I'm just like, it's such a good deal, especially then you earn those rewards where you can like get the money off the popcorn and shit. I just can't.
Like if you go to 3, like, and I mean, like if you're not going to 3 a month, like maybe it's not worth it. But if you can hit 3 a month, you're making out on it. At least here, because it's actually even 2. I think if you go to 2,
even
month,
2,
like
it's worth it.
It's like $15 a ticket. If I normally go, like if I were to just buy tickets, it would be like roughly about $15. So I think the sub is 22 or something like that. So if I go twice, I'm ripping them off.
I justify it a few ways. It's a great deal.
Yeah.
So I think if I used this, it would be a fantastic deal. If I don't use it, I'm still supporting theatrical movie going in some way. So,
well, yeah, you're helping keep AMC open at least.
Yeah. So there we go.
That's it. That's what I saw. All right. So yeah, it brings us to our double header, our double feature for the night. Forbidden World from 1982 and Dead Space from 1991, which is a remake of Forbidden World. Both produced by, Forbidden World is produced directly by Roger Corman. Dead Space is produced by Roger Corman's production company. Yeah. So we're going to start off with Forbidden World because I think while we'll get into it, I think it's the better movie. Also, it makes more sense to talk about the original before we talk about the sequel.
Exarbian, sir. Prepare for docking. Searcher 7 to Zarbo 5. Come in, please.
Roger, Searcher 7, we see you. Hold your course.
Roger, Exarbia. Holding steady. Where do you want us?
Enter code 65, cipher 2 Papa. We'll strobe you in.
Gordon Hauser, head of research.
Mike Colby.
Of course. This is my assistant, Dr. Glazer. Barbara knows more about genetic synthesis than anyone else alive.
Sounds like fun.
I've heard good things about you, Commander Colby.
Mike.
It's good to be here in your pleasant custody.
Let's get started.
Good. Follow me. I'll show you around. This is an A-priority, high-security research facility. Actually, it's a scientist's dream. We have the best of everything here.
Except real estate.
Well, they put us here for two reasons. One, because we're working on a bacteria that's unique to this planet. And two, because we can take experimental risks here in isolation that would be unthinkable back home.
What kind of research do you do here?
Genetic engineering. Bacteriological, mostly.
Our objective is to create an extremely productive, entirely new food source. And I would say that we've done that, too.
Uh-huh. Tell me about the accident.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Tracy, would you go find Jimmy, please, and have him come to the lab?
Sure. Sorry.
It's okay.
You're a new face around here. We don't often get new faces.
That's the truth.
In here? Okay, close your eyes.
What is this?
It kills every living thing on your body. Keep it clean, that's the rule.
Nothing messy goes in, nothing messy comes out.
Isn't there a cancer risk?
A Forbidden World, 1982, directed by Alan Holtzman, starring a bunch of people I don't know. It had a budget under $1 million, made about $4 million worldwide. So, I mean, it made its money back.
Yeah, it did what it had to do.
And I mean, it's a low budget science fiction erotic horror film. So
I know, it cracked me up. I saw that on Wikipedia. It's like erotic, and I was like, for a while throughout the movie, there was like a sex scene at one point. I was like, that's considered erotic? Like Terminator has a sex scene like that. But as it went on, I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah,
this is a USA Up All Night movie.
Yes. Yeah. We'll get into the sex scene and some of the other stuff, but yes, this came out in 1982. One thing I didn't know about this till I kind of like read up on the Wikipedia page, Jeff, is that James Cameron designed some of the sets for it. He also designed some of the sets for it was shared with a film called Galaxy of Terror, which Corman also produced, which is also a ripoff of Alien.
So they're reusing some stuff from Galaxy of Terror,
which makes sense, right?
It makes sense. That's totally what something Corman would do. And also, I knew Cameron used to work on the production side way more before he got into directing, and all this checks out.
So kind of neat that like he has some tie to a Alien knockoff, and then he went on to do
before he went to do his own Alien. Yeah.
The movie starts off with this ridiculous space battle that just reuses shots and dialogue over and over again. And the note I wrote here is it looks like a first FX pass on the original Battlestar Galactica TV show. It's super low budget. Like, it's not. Also, I don't understand the fucking space battle. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. Anyway, after that, they kind of are.
Hold on, can we pause there?
Yeah.
Okay, I watched these in reverse, which I think is actually the better way to watch.
Maybe.
But in both this and the other one, I have no idea, like, what is going on in that? Like, what is that?
I don't know. They don't really explain
it.
We need a space battle.
Yeah, they're just getting attacked. Also, before you go, I won't. Oh wait, never mind. I will pass up on this. Hold on.
Okay,
go ahead.
So this what the hell's his name? Mike. He's this fixer, I guess. And he has this robot, Sam, and they are much like an alien. They have been told like, "Hey, you need to go to this planet." Except on that planet, there's a lab there, so they're going there because there's been some sort of lab break. Something's gone bad. He needs to go and fix it. Sam, the robot, it just looks like a dude in like the Scout Trooper helmet from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Fucking goofy. Mike and Sam, they get onto this planet and they're greeted by the people that were working in this lab. And immediately there's like a gratuitous ass shot of this lady walking down the hallway with somebody else. Like the camera is focused on her ass, like as she walks down. And it is clear that she's not wearing underwear, which I also wrote here that I think Corman thinks similar to Lucas that there's no such thing as underwear in space.
That's a Lucas thing.
Yeah, like he very famously there are interviews with Carrie Fisher where she was told like, no, you can't wear underwear with your white robe because there's no underwear in space. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, George? Like,
I could kind of see it. He doesn't want reminders of like the not the modern world, but like yeah, just like he doesn't want something like looking like something you could buy from Target. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, makes sense. Every woman who works in this space lab is hot and horny as hell. Like they are all like just like, holy shit, there's a new dude here that we can fuck. Just like immediately. So the lab has like just they walk in, they kind of he gets the lay of it, and they walk into this lab, and there's just like shit just like randomly broken. It's like somebody went with a baseball bat and broke everything in the room. It's very like weirdly designed. And then they kind of like meet up with this weird space hugger thing, which is like hanging above, and it's like, oh, that's what you're here for.
It's like it attacked them and it cocooned itself in like
yeah, it's cocoon, and they're like, oh, it's not doing anything yet. It's just kind of sitting there. But they have like the door open, and he's like, you might want to close that. But also, there's no lock on the door. It just it's just like things that are just like you would think this a lab. You would lock the door of your weird space fucking thing. And they call in this custodian dude.
You go in there and clean this.
Yeah, you go clear. There's blood everywhere. There's glass everywhere. It's like weird, like alien splooge all over the place. Like you go clean it up, and you would think that like people in space would be like, especially in like a weird lab like this, like I'm not gonna go stick my head in the cage where the weird thing is. But he does, and it jumps out and like attaches to his face, and then he hysterically flails around this room, easily breaking everything in the lab. He's just breaking all the glass. He's going through windows. It's kind of goofy, like how fucking everything just is so easily breakable there. And while this is all happening, the rest of the people, they're all in the mess hall, and it's like straight up the alien meal scene, like where they're all sitting around this table. The lighting is shitty, like they've just ripped off that entire scene, but it just doesn't have the chest burster. Then I guess they kind of like, oh no, shit's going bad. So like they all get up, they run out there, and we first see Mike's weapon, and he has a gun with a light bulb screwed onto the top of it. So it's like one of those things you get at the dollar store. Like you pull it, if you keep pulling it, like it lights up the entire gun, and that looks like what he's using. It's
hell yeah.
Let's see. Then so like then shit, like he's dead. The custodian guy's dead. They cart him off to the lab, where they're gonna kind of like I guess, take a look at it. But this alien thing is now on the loose in the lab, very much like the original Alien movie. But from here, it's like, hey, we're gonna we're gonna just go and go to sleep, I guess. So this lady Tracy, who was the girlfriend of the custodian, she's just laying in bed looking at her picture of him, and her boob just falls out of her top, like just a like unnecessary boob shot.
Yes.
Like for no apparent reason. Like she's not like, she's not masturbating or anything. Her boob just falls out. It's like, okay. Let's see. What do I got here? I don't know what that note is, so that we're gonna skip that. Then Mike and the other main lady, she kind of invites him into her room, where he eagerly jumps at the opportunity, and they start to have this sensual scene.
Kind of the best scene of the movie
between the two of them, but then it keeps getting spliced like through other shit. There's the one black guy is playing what I wrote down as is he playing a space sax? Like looks like he's playing he looks like the space sax look like a fucking bong.
It's like it's like a glass instrument that is the shape of a saxophone, and it actually like the music playing during the scene feels very much like a 80s porn music.
Yeah.
But then you add the sax on top, and you're like, "This is fucking killer, dude!" And like the space sax, it's like it sounds like synthesizer. It's I think the music is kind of rad in this part. I like really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the music's decent. It's just so
like
goofy,
kind of like porn sounding music playing over like kind of a soft core. Like I wouldn't go as far as to say it a softcore porn scene, but like they're getting it on.
Yeah.
And you get cuts to this guy playing, like he adds the sax to it. It's awesome. Like actually, the music is really cool.
And then he cuts to this other dude who's like watching them on TV.
He's watching them, right? Like on a monitor.
Yes.
Like why do they have cameras in their room? What the fuck?
Exactly. This dude has access to watch everybody get naked.
And it keeps I guess it like helps them prevent from doing just a full on porno scene because like. That's kind of what they're doing is like a soft porno scene, but like it'll just keep cutting to this guy's reaction as he's watching it on the monitor. Like it does it a bunch. It's like crazy. I don't know. It's to me, it's like the centerpiece scene of the movie.
It's so funny too, though, because this scene goes on for a while. Like it's a good chunk of the movie. So the guy who's watching them, the voyeur, like he starts seeing like there's some beeping or something on one of the monitors saying there's an error somewhere. So he grabs his like little light gun and he goes down for what is like the knockoff boiler room scene from Alien, like where when they're in it's like the cargo hold in Alien where the water's all dripping down. Well, this dude is clearly in like a boiler room that's designed to be like that scene. But as he's looking, like, what should be this tense scene where he's looking for the alien or something in this boiler room, it just keeps getting spliced in with shots of the sex scene. So fucking weird. It's great. And then they cut back to the lab because all of this is like there's still the sex scene's still ongoing. The dude is in the boiler room. They cut to the lab though, where the other two, like the doctor is in there, and I think somebody else, one of the other ladies, is in there as well. And like they show the body of the boyfriend, the janitor, and it is now just become like this weird fungusy mass. It's disgusting looking. Next morning, I guess Mike gets up. Well, the next morning, the Tracy, the girlfriend, gets up and she starts like gathering all of her stuff, and for some reason she's wearing sunglasses inside, and she's going to the shower, or I thought it was a shower. She's actually going to a sauna, and then Mike,
like a steam bath,
a steam bath or something, and then Mike, the main character who just had sex with her coworker the night before, he goes in there and he starts hitting on her, where the two of them are then going to start going at it. They don't, because they get interrupted.
But it's funny because he just got done with the other girl. This fucking military officer's got stamina, yo.
I'm ready.
He's older than me, but he's got more stamina than me. That's for fucking sure.
Oh, but then like the alarms go off, and I guess everybody runs into the sauna where, Tracy is half naked, and Mike is starting to get. I think he's taken off his shirt at this point, so she's fully naked, he's half naked, and then everybody comes in, and the chick that he had just banged like gives him the dirtiest fucking look on the planet, like. Just like, what the fuck, dude? You literally just left my room. Some cool visual subtext there. I guess then they find out that they get attacked. The alien then goes outside, so they're gonna go hunt for it outside. It's very funny in the way they describe this. They're like, so like the atmosphere is. It's okay to be out there without a helmet on, but you have to wear this breather thing and a mask. But also, you can only be out there for 20 minutes. If you're out there for longer than 20 minutes, it's like huffing nitrous directly. Like you're gonna feel euphoric and not want to come back, and you're gonna die. So they kind of give you a timeline here for like how long they're going to be out there. So they all go outside. The alien is just like this weird blob thing with like legs on it. And then it becomes a spider type thing. It's really weird.
It's constantly mutating and evolving. Right? Do we explain that? Like, that's what it is. It's like a thing that like constantly is like mutating and becoming something more.
Yeah. So they
shoot it at one point out here.
Yes.
It looks like it's a great shot of a dummy falling off the side of a cliff. It's awesome.
But it doesn't kill it or anything.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild. Like they for this super low budget film, they actually go into like the details of how this, they call it the metamorph, is actually created. Like that they're splicing this in to do X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to get into like all the. It sounds legitimate though.
It's like this protein or something that they created that they're splicing into something else's DNA.
Yeah, in the human DNA, because
that's like a big reveal, but it's like obvious from the very beginning. Like, as soon as they introduce it, they're like, "Don't talk about that. Don't say what we're doing." It's like, obviously, they're using humans to,
But I thought, like, it's actually an interesting, like, normally in a film like
it's like okay sci-fi, yeah.
It's like, I mean, that's exactly right. It's good if generic sci-fi premise, like it actually it works. Like it's decent enough. They thought it through. So this is maybe the funniest fucking part of it. So then they're finally like, all right, we got to kill it. Well, the dudes are at least like, we got to kill it. My note here is, and the women are like, what if we fuck it?
I mean, it fits into the erotic
element. Like they're like, I think we could stop this if we fuck the metamorph. Like
this is like it's like this movie's like one or two steps removed from like just porn, like a porn movie with a plot, like the old porn movies used to have a plot. These try to be movies.
Yes.
This is a movie that tries to be a little bit of porn. Like it's like such a fine line.
So like all the dudes are like getting guns and flamethrowers and they're like, hey, we should get some acid because that'll work. We'll get acid. So they're like prepping for that, and the girls are like, let's get hot. Let's go talk to the thing and get naked. It's like, what? So anyway, they don't kill it with acid. They don't kill it by fucking it. They kill it with cancer, which I thought was also a neat kind of
idea,
sci-fi approach. Like, hey,
yeah,
the lead scientist, he's dying from cancer. He knows it, but also, if we take my cancer and we inject it into it, because the metamorph metabolizes things so quickly, it should just like almost instantly kill him.
Don't they take his cancer and like inject it into the protein jelly that like
yes,
the corpses? I thought that was an interesting idea too. Is like the corpse that this thing is infected or killed or whatever is like it hits it with like a poison that's like slowly turning it into just a blob of protein for the creature to eat.
Yeah, that's I did not note that, but yeah, like the guy, the custodian, he's slowly becoming this jelly thing.
And it looks cool. They show you like his skeleton, like his
it's
like
good effects there.
Yeah.
But like another cool sci-fi piece is like that this stuff is like it's multiplying, by cell division or whatever, and it's not killing them all immediately because it wants to infect them like it did the custodian so that it can create this kind of like never-ending food supply. Which I thought was like a neat idea too. Like,
yeah, it's not bad.
Shit, like the alien is smart and it understands the humans are food, and so yes, the doctor figures out, hey, like it's trying to do this. What if we infect this with the cancer? He does that, does the experiment, and then and he's like, you need to do surgery on me and cut it out of me, so that you can inject it into them. And yeah, that's it. Like they kill the fucking thing, with cancer, and also the soundtrack is pretty banger in this. I had a ton of fun with this movie. It started off, I'm like, oh god, this fucking space battle is atrocious. What did I step into? But as it moved on, like, I had this like cool, as you said, borderline porn, like sex scene in the middle of it that goes on for very long. For it's a 77-minute movie,
and the sax sent you to the next level.
Like, this is fucking great. This music is awesome. I love this. It's like the dude is just out there in like the mess hall playing a space sax while Captain Mike and one of the science officers are getting it on in her room. Like, yeah, this was good stuff here. It is clearly low budget. Like, it is clearly schlock, but I thought it was entertaining schlock. How did you approach this one, Jeff?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I don't think this is a good movie.
No, but absolutely not.
I think I said at the top of this that this is like a total USA Up All Night movie. Like, I don't know if you were a fan of that as a kid or whatever, but I was very much. I watched USA Up All Night every fucking weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked it up. It was on USA Up All Night. So I wasn't wrong on that. It would fit in. I could see like Joe Bob showing this on the last drive-in. But that said, it's not a good movie. Like, I would never recommend this to anyone. I would never be like, no, you should check out Forbidden World.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I knew that the person was kind of like into schlocky, like 80s, like late 70s,
sure,
early 80s sci-fi, like, yeah, give it a go.
But there's no like big thing in it where I'm like, some sort of kill that sits over the top, or like you should like, it's just like, it has that vibe. It has that vibe of a USA Up All Night movie. I don't know how to explain it. Where it's like there's tits and ass for no reason, and it's garbage. But But it also got like bolstered a lot by me watching it in reverse because going from like Dead Space, which we're going to talk about, to this looks like a movie, which Dead Space is not to me. Despite this like low budget trappings of this, like it looks like a movie. There is some production design, and to hear you say that like Cameron was involved, that makes sense because it's like the ships look like something. They're not just like a white hallway with nothing, you know, like. But like overall, like I would never like even like to my horror fan friends, I wouldn't be like check out Forbidden World, but if you did, you're gonna have there's some pleasures to having it. So like I'm like right down the middle on it. I'd say like a 5.
All right, I'm slightly. I mostly agree with you on where the score is. I'm at a 6 with it. I had fun with it. But I don't think I could recommend this to anybody ever, unless like I knew they were into like horny 80s sci-fi.
Like I would maybe tell Earl, hey, like
Earl would probably. This is one that I think you would like. Like
yeah, but I wouldn't like enthusiast. I would be like, hey, I don't know, if you want something junky to watch this Friday, watch Forbidden World. That's like that's kind of a alien ripoff. You know, just titties. You know, you're gonna have an okay time. Like,
yeah, and that's exactly what it is. It's an okay time. I think some of its ideas and it punches above
a little above.
It's like it's doing things that like you don't expect from a movie that has
of this
so much tits and ass. And,
it'd be like if a porn actually had some good ideas in it.
Yeah, that's what it is. Is a porn with good ideas. All right, so yeah, we're pretty much in agreement there, and then that brings us to its remake, which is a 1991 sci-fi horror film directed by Fred Gallo called Dead Space.
Scientists experimenting in deepest space have released a deadly new life form.
Frank, what's happening?
Where'd you say that distress call was coming from?
From a research lab on the planet Phaebon.
We don't have sufficient reason to terminate the experiment.
Are you telling me this is a false alarm?
It is not a monster.
What the hell do you call it?
I think it's time I took a look at your monster.
He's a fool if he thinks he can stop it.
Frank, you're too weak.
I am not weak. I'm dead. Singer in Dead Space.
It is a straight remake of Forbidden World in a lot of ways. I don't have any notes on this getting a theatrical release. I think it was just straight to video from what I can see.
And I think that explains why it exists.
I'm sure.
Yeah. This came out in 91, right?
91.
That's the height of the home video market. If you could create another SKU off of like existing properties you have, it doesn't matter that it's the same movie as Forbidden World. It's another box on the shelf that somebody could rent, and if budget's low enough, horror sells. You know what I mean? Like horror sells. Most people won't know this is a remake of a property we already own, type thing. Like it's another cassette to put out there.
Yeah.
So that makes is that like a wild? That's my just personal like. This is what happened.
That actually makes quite a bit of sense. Like video stores wanted to fill space, and Roger Corman's Concord Pictures could be like, all right, well, we can probably film this at a low budget rate. We're gonna get some actors. Now there are actors that you've heard of in this movie, but I'm sure they did not get paid
at the time. Nobody,
yeah, like they weren't known exactly. They weren't known
Cranston,
at the time.
most notably, like nobody knew who he was till Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah, and Mark Singer, who had been in some like '80s schlock prior to this. One I know very intimately called the Beastmaster. Which I used to watch. You've never seen it?
No.
It was like one they used to show all the time on like Sunday movie, like on one of those type channels. So I watched it a lot.
Yeah. No, I had a lot of friends that would talk about that movie all the time. I've still never seen it.
But yeah, that makes quite a bit of sense that it would be.
That's my speculation. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Like, why else would you do this?
I don't know, and it's somehow shorter. It's shorter, but it feels longer.
It's shorter, and it's a million times worse. Like, why would you do a remake? Like, the point of doing a remake of a movie is to try to either improve it or translate it to American audiences. And here, what we're doing is just like this is just like a garbage movie from the 80s. Yeah, garbage movie from the 80s. It's literally to make another SKU, like another thing you could sell, like another tape you could put on the shelf. Back when we had physical media, here's another thing you can sell. Most people will not know it has anything to do with the thing before it, but we own this IP, like this story. We could repackage it and resell it as it'll Forbidden World will still be on the shelf somewhere. But anyone who's seen that, they've rented that. We could get new rentals off of this. I genuinely think like that's what it is. Maybe I'm completely off base here, but it's just like that's the only explanation I could get to do a remake that's worse. Like it does.
Yeah, because this is worse in every single way.
Every fucking way. Every way.
This one starts off in the lab, and they're kind of showing I guess what is going to be the metamorph of this, and like whatever that fucking thing is, it looks like the cancer from the first movie. Like they've just taken the cancer from the first movie from Forbidden World.
Exactly. Hey, put that on the box. They took the cancer from the first movie and made that the movie.
But then it becomes a straight fucking remake where they've cut shit out of it though, because we get that horrible battle scene, the horrible space battle scene.
Same thing, yeah.
It doesn't look. My notes are. I'm not sure the ship design look any better than it did in Forbidden World, which was nine years prior. Like this doesn't look any better, and by 91 stuff had improved. Like special effects should have improved.
Terminator came out like a year. Terminator 2 came out like a year after this. So I understand we're dealing with different budgets, but I'm just saying like these were both low budget movies, and this looks considerably worse on every front. Like the lighting, everything, photography, everything looks so much worse on this.
That space battle, which we both were like, this doesn't really make any sense in the original movie.
It makes less sense here.
Yes, and somehow it still looks as shitty as 1980s Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
We get to the planet. It's no longer Captain Mike. It's Commander Steve this time. The ladies here are. My notes are they're less hot and decidedly less horny.
They kept the one. They kind of removed that element of the movie, except for one scene here where this girl has like a dream where she gets naked and has sex.
Yep.
So it almost felt like that was in there as an homage to like the original. Like, hey, remember when these movies were about tits?
Yeah. My note on that scene, because it's literally the next thing. Like after he gets on the they don't really even kind of go into it with them on what's happening. They kind of cut to this chick who has this random sex scene, and it's a dream.
Yeah.
And it shows too little. It takes way too long. It's just like
it goes on forever. It sucks. There's no space sex.
because she's like fantasizing about the commander, about Steve.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, like I mean, look, that makes sense on some level. New dude shows up on your space station.
You're
You
horny.
haven't been late in a while. Yeah, like you might fantasize about him. But this scene takes up way too much of this film, and there's no payoff on it. Like it's just, at least the other one was kind of like softcore porn.
It's so funny too. You touched on this a little bit. Like both of these movies are under 80 minutes. They're both very short. Like they're barely movies. Both of these movies are barely movies.
Yeah, and this one's even less so. This one's only 72 minutes.
Yeah, but you're right that this one feels longer because like it's incompetent on every level. Where like the other movie was a low budget movie that I believe was probably released in theaters and was not incompetent. This movie's incompetent. The lighting, everything about it is super. Like the acting is super incompetent. Whereas the other one was like this enjoyable kind of like porny, like Aliens ripoff.
Yeah,
this is like a ripoff of a porny Aliens ripoff, but like just stripping it of anything that would. I don't know, man. Like there's not like
that's exactly that's my second to last note here, Jeff, is they sucked all the charm out of Forbidden World.
Like what is it? Like what are we left with? Nothing. It's just like you're just using the plot skeleton of that movie to do the same thing again, but on the cheap to like sell some videotapes. That's
the cheap. It doesn't utilize the same, like, as I said, like I was kind of impressed with Forbidden World, like kind of going out of their way for such a low budget. Like this is kind of what I expected of Forbidden World, right? Like it's not. You're not going to go into detail on why the metamorph exists. No, like Forbidden World had some, like it was generic sci-fi, but it was like, we thought this shit out. It makes sense. The film is competent. This is not competent. There's no sense to why anything happens.
It looks like shit. It looks like shit.
Yeah.
The whole way. Like
somehow worse than Forbidden World.
I said that Forbidden World is like a USA Up All Night movie.
Yeah,
Dead Space is like an episode of a forgotten like anthology series. Like, remember, like there was like that Friday the 13th anthology series.
Yep,
it's like something like it's like a forgotten episode of that. That's what this looks like.
Yeah, that works. I think. Yeah, it's just a little bit longer than that would be.
Like super cheap television that was shot on like the barest bones of sets.
Let's see. So that sex scene that we kind of we were at, it breaks down with the monster kind of like flopping out of the bed, which I did find kind of funny because it was so fucking dumb. And then Steve is the worst shot ever. He's literally like right on top of this thing and he can't hit it. This one also has a little robot. Like the first one had Sam, which stood for something. I think they actually like capital S, capital A, capital M, and the guy just calls him Tin Pan. Like it's like that doesn't stand for anything. It's just like his slang term for my robot dude. And the robot looks worse than Sam did. Like it just like it looks like a dude in boots with a robot helmet on.
Yes, I think they both do. I think this looks less like a Star Wars like Stormtrooper or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
like the helmet at least looks more robotic, but like,
it does.
Yeah, like it's just dudes in suits with a helmet on, both of them. But that's not the problem.
No. There's a charm to how Sam looks, though. I think, like, how Sam walks, and like Tin Pan is just some dude, and he's like he has this dumb helmet on. He's just walking like a normal dude. Like, it kind of just like lends to
you gotta try to act, do the robotic movements,
The only other note I have here, because it really just follows along kind of like
It's
the
the same
same
shit. It's
thing,
fucking garbage.
except without like the added, benefit of like telling us why things are happening and how things are going to work. The final monster form is like a cross between like the alien queen and a praying mantis. It's maybe the best thing in the movie. It's not great looking, but I think all their budget went to designing this fucking alien for like the final like scene of the film.
But they don't know how to shoot it because every time you see it, it stands in place and just waves its arms.
Yeah,
which is kind of like I'm sure that's stuff that happened in the Aliens movies, but those movies were made by like competent directors, so they know how to shoot, like edit, and shoot around it to make it look like you get glimpses of this thing. Here you just see like this dummy moving its arms up and down, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, this is terrible, like all around terrible.
So my review on Letterbox is it sucks all the fun out of Forbidden World, and there's no space sex. It's shorter but feels 3 times as long.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how you look worse than the goofy schlock that was Forbidden World, but it does. So like that's where I'm at with this. This is a bad movie. And if you need to watch any of these, go watch Forbidden World. Stay the fuck away from Dead Space.
Yeah.
It's getting a 3 for me. Where are you at, Jeff?
Exactly the same. I would not recommend either of these movies to anybody. But I do think that, like, let's say you came to me and said, should I watch? Nobody will ever do this. Should I watch Forbidden World or its remake? It would be like, absolutely, you should not watch the remake. And you should, and like, there's just nothing here, man. Like, you have Bryan Cranston in this one role, so like that is kind of something. Just if you want to see his early work,
yeah, it's like one of his earliest.
That's it. Like, there's nothing. There's not like. It just looks like shit. The movie looks so bad. Everything, like, it was so crazy for me because I watched these in reverse, and it was like, Forbidden World looked like a real fucking movie after watching this. Like, this was just like really, really bad, and I didn't hate it. I'm like with you. It's a 3 out of 10. It's like. It's absolute garbage. There's nothing I can recommend. Absolutely skip it. Do not watch it. But like, it did it like make me mad watching it? No. It's just I just felt like I was watching like a bad episode of TV from the 90s. So,
which ultimately I think that's what it was, right? It was a 72-minute,
pretty much, yeah,
direct to video. Schlock that ended up on like a West Coast video store or Blockbuster store shelf. That some unsuspecting dumbfuck saw like a skeleton floating in space and was like,
even that art though,
it's so bad.
It's pretty bad.
Oh man, like it's so bad because like the Forbidden World artwork, not really.
It's something.
It's like the Forbidden World is like, oh, this is trying to harken back to like the 1950s type monster movie posters. Like there's something there. There's some art to it. There's a neat design. Mm-hmm. Dead Space is like photographed a skeleton in a spacesuit. Doesn't make any sense.
And it just looks like copy pasted or something. Like it doesn't like. Again, there's the difference between those two posters is the difference between those two movies.
I am glad that Electronic Arts was they took this name and made it something else because Jesus Christ, the name is great. The name is a phenomenal name for a horror movie.
If you Google Dead Space, this is not what comes up.
No, and that's a good thing. I'm glad that the game is better known than this awful shit. Well, it's clear for Forbidden
Yeah.
World is our winner
Easily.
this time out. Jeff, what do we have on tap for next month?
So about a year ago on the show, we did an episode where we reviewed the movie Network and the movie A Face in the Crowd.
Yeah.
Those were like kind of like a warning shot, like a hey, we're in this election. These are some things to think about. And nobody
Nobody thought about
listened.
them.
Nobody listened. So now we're in it. And I thought, now that we're in it, it's time to do some dystopian political thrillers.
All right.
This is what I got for this month. From 1971, we're going to do a film called Punishment Park. And
All
from
right.
2023, we're going to do a film called They Cloned Tyrone.
All right. They cloned Tyrone and Punishment Park. Jeff, do you know if these are readily available for our
Yes.
listeners to go watch?
Punishment Park is on Tubi and only Tubi.
Okay.
So I would maybe get on that, Chris, in case. But I did see that. I did see someone's uploaded the movie to YouTube.
Okay.
It is a mockumentary, one of the very earliest mockumentaries. They Clone Tyrone is, like a political thriller in the vein of They Live that is only available on Netflix. Unfortunately, it should be available wider, but it's not.
Okay. There you go. Tubi and Netflix for next month. Punishment Park on Tubi. They Clone Tyrone on Netflix. Looking forward to it, Jeff.
I hope you enjoy. I had to say, I think you will love They Clone Tyrone. I have not seen the other one yet.
Okay. Can't get any more depressing than where we are at in society right now. So
it's probably not. Yeah, that's probably fail a little bit because we are in it.
We yes, it's Jesus Christ. It's a bad time. All right, well, we'll be back in roughly a month with Punishment Park and They Cloned Tyrone.